And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Tons of stuff to cover today, so let's get into it. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. First of all, we see me forgetting to bring up Epic Pen, and since we're streaming live to Twitch, you just got to see what my desktop looks like. And now you get to see what I look like. And we see a small sun-diving comet here on the LASCO C2, which is why I'm bringing up Epic Pen to help illustrate where it's located. It's right here. You can see it go. It looks like it dives into the sun there. And the reason we're looking at the LASCO C2 is because we see a coronal mass ejection building right now, hence the title. So here's the view from LASCO C3. And we don't see the coronal mass ejection showing up yet on either of these images. It is somewhat Earth-facing. It's going to be somewhat Earth-facing. And we won't know exactly what the telemetry of that is until after it fully releases, but it's in the process of releasing now. I would also note the Pleiades showing up. Check it out. It's the Pleiades, folks. Pleiades. And I don't know why I haven't muted, but severe storms in the Midwest. And here's the coronal mass ejection that we're talking about. You can see this building up now. This is the view from the Stereo A spacecraft, and Earth is out in this direction on what we call the ecliptic plane, the plane on which planets orbit the sun like grooves on a record. So this is classic coronal mass ejection building up here. So if you want to watch this release throughout the day, just head to the Integrated Space Weather Analysis, ISWA, and you can view this thing as it releases. And let's take some images of the sun here. Here's a 171 angstroms view, and you can see a little bit of evidence of some plasma moving around there in between the Earth and the sun. We've got some custom images here. We've got some large plumes of plasma up in the northwest also. We'll cover it in a minute. First, let's look at the fields. Here are the fields and a 171 angstroms view. And not a lot of organization going on there. Here's the 304 angstroms view. And you can see that giant plume of plasma up there. There's the fade. And first we're going to look at the equatorial region. So there's the equatorial region. And we also made 3 more custom HelioViewer movies. Let me vanish. And by the way, if you're viewing live, please leave us a comment. Please leave us a comment if it's live or if it's Memorex, as we do read all comments, folks. We can't respond to every comment, but we do read them all. And here's the South Polar region. You see a couple little brightenings happening down there in the South Pole. Some minor crown prominences. That's all a good sign, folks. That's an indication that sun is ramping up in activity. And here's the North Polar region. And you can see that giant plasma filament up there. It's partially wrapped around the limb of the sun there. I'll let that play through a second time before we look at the 171 angstroms view of that same region. There's a 171 angstroms view. A great opportunity to see all the magnetic looping associated with all of that ionized iron. And next we'll look at the 193 angstroms view. Some coronal holes in the equatorial region there. And so there's some plasma moving right now, folks. Expect to see some limb darkening today as that coronal mass ejection releases. There are at least 2 different areas that are probably going to do a coronal mass ejection throughout the day today. And let's get back to data.